Hey guys, I am here for your interview today. I understand you've got a couple of questions for me, and I'm going to go ahead and answer those for you. Looks like your first question is what does the CRISP DM methodology for data mining entail, and what does the data analyst do in each step? Well, first off, CRISP DM stands for Cross Industry Standard Process for Data Mining. Now, there's 6 steps in this process. And so step number 1 is going to be like business understanding. This is what we're targeting. This is what we're aiming for. We want to understand the business goals so that we can help support them. And results need to be measurable, and their impact on the business needs to be quantifiable so we know that we're heading in the right direction. Phase number 2 is data understanding. Now we're listening to what the data has to tell us. We're looking for errors, any missing values, and anything that doesn't look right. From there, we're going to calculate some basic descriptive statistics like mean, median, mode, maximum, minimum, anything that starts with the letter M, pretty much. Phase 3 is data preparation. Here we're trimming off the fat and focusing on the best part of the data. So documents, what was issued were identified in phase 2 and what was done to fix them. And then in this phase, we may need to derive the data and create some new columns. Phase 4 is going to be modeling, and we're going to decide which model to use, to design a test plan for the model, and then construct a prototype model. So then that takes us into phase number 5, which is evaluation. Now that our model is going under the microscope, we want to ask ourselves, does the model meet the business goals that we identified in phase number 1? It's time to collect feedback. We're going to create some visualizations of the model's results. We're going to review the data mining process to determine if anything was overlooked. And then we're going to prepare a presentation on whether or not the model should be deployed. So there's a possibility we may not deploy that. And then in phase number 6 is the deployment. That's the exciting part where we're going to put it into action. We're going to continue to monitor its performance and then investigate any radical changes in the volume and quality. Looks like question number 2 says, explain what needs to be done before you can forecast time series. In other words, what does this time series analysis involve? Well, in simplest terms, a time series analysis is a line graph that analyzes change over time. This allows us to see trends and patterns. Now we could see stationary, non-stationary, auto-correction, or seasonality types of trends and patterns. So to forecast the time series, what we're going to need to do is we need to create a simple moving average or a weighted moving average to decide how are we going to forecast this in the future. Now a simple moving average, we're just looking at most recent data. We're going to average it all together. It's all weighted the same. But a weighted moving average, we're going to assign more value to the more recent data and less of a weight and a value to older data. The purpose for this is to flatten out any spikes in the data and help us identify a trend when maybe at first it wasn't immediately recognizable. Question number 3 says, discuss the main principles of data ethics, as well as what companies or organizations could do to uphold these principles. So I'm thinking to myself, there are 4 main principles of data ethics. They're privacy, transparency, accountability, and equality. Let me tell you a little bit about each one. So privacy refers to the understanding that individuals should be in control of their own data. Companies must comply with data privacy laws and get consent from individuals before collecting and sharing private information. Transparency refers to an organization's policy on how they collect, handle, process, and share data, and that should be available for the public to be able to view. The third one is accountability. This refers to an organization taking responsibility for any mishandling of how they collect and share data. There is an expectation that they will protect it and take responsibility for it if they don't. And the last one is equality. This refers to an organization not discriminating against individuals or groups when handling and processing data. Question number 4 says, imagine you're an analyst, that sounds better, at a financial services company and you have some concerns about bias in the way a predictive model was measured. How would you raise your concerns with your manager and make some suggestions for how to avoid measurement bias in the future? So if I had concerns about bias in the way a predictive model was measured, I would first determine what the company's protocol is for this situation. I'm sure they'll have it laid out. They're anticipating mistakes coming up, and so there would be some sort of policy in place. So I would refer to that. After that, I would possibly seek out the person who designed the model, meet with them, and make them aware of the findings. I don't want to go above their head. Let me reach out to them, say, hey, I found something out. This is what I found. Now, if that doesn't work, or if that's not part of the company's policy, I would raise my concern with the manager. And I'd start off by saying that that if we don't address this now, it could potentially be a bigger issue down the road. Could turn into some sort of lawsuit or something like that. So let's go ahead and fix it before this thing gets out of control. And so my suggestion for avoiding measurement bias in the future is to see that if all the analysts have been properly and adequately trained on the task that they're performing. And if not, get some training before collecting and analyzing data. And this is going to help us from getting into hot water in the future. Finally, our last question says, explain the difference between regression and classification models in predictive analysis. When would you use one of these models over the other? And so regression and classification models, they both measure the relationship between the independent variable and the dependent variable. The difference between the two is that the regression model has a continuous quantitative dependent variable, while the classification model has a categorical qualitative dependent variable. So here's what I would say. I would say the best time to use a regression model in predictive analysis is when you're looking to see how the data changes over time so that you can observe trends and patterns on a number line. However, the best time to use a classification model in predictive analysis when you're looking to see how the data compares to other subgroups, different categories. So this comparison could best be illustrated on a circle graph. That's it, guys. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you for the opportunity to meet with you, and I look forward to hearing back from you very soon in the future. Have a great day. Bye-bye.